All right, what's up guys? Nestor Tarango, CEO of SolarWorks Energy, here with Mike Thooft, CEO of Tyco Energy. Mike, thanks for taking some time to chat. You enjoying Tahiti so far?
Having a blast. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, we just spent 12 hours in silence on the side of a mountain. How was that experience for you?
First time ever doing anything like that. Definitely didn't have shade all day, a little bit of sunburn here, so apologize for that. But it was awesome. I don't think I've ever gone a full day of not speaking in general. So that was maybe a little bit challenging, but it was also great to see how everybody interacts without being able to talk to each other. And then being able to have that time of 12 hours to just really process through my thoughts is something else I've never done before, and I'll definitely be doing that more often.
Any big breakthroughs that you had during that?
I think maybe some specific breakthroughs on getting to know myself better and having a better understanding, which is going to allow me to be more intentional moving forward, which I think is something that's super important. But in terms of massive life-changing breakthroughs, I don't think that was necessarily there, but I definitely opened up more doors. And going into it, I knew, being the first time, that it probably wasn't going to be perfect. I was going to be distracted at times. So I'm looking forward to doing it again, and I had that intention going in, like, we'll take what we can get out of this one, but it's only going to get better and better each time.
Heck yeah. Well, I met Mike at the airport. I'm on the way out in San Francisco, and I was talking to your business partner, and he told me that you had an incredible month last month. You put up 41 solar sales last month?
41 accounts, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. And was that your biggest month so far?
Biggest month so far. Previous to that was 24 accounts. Big thing that I would just say is, whenever you're in a competition, that usually brings the best out of you. So the 24 accounts was in a competition with Knoxstar University, and then this one was, I was in a head-to-head with another gentleman in Florida. So when you're in a competition, you always want to perform at your best. So.
Heck yeah, that's rad, man. Well, cool, man. Well, I'd love to just learn a little bit more about you. So, how long have you been doing door-to-door sales? And then also, how long before you realized, like, you were actually good at this and this is something that you can do for a career?
Yeah, I've been in solar and door-to-door for 6 years, going on 7 years coming up here in a few months. And previous to that, I worked in hospitality, so bars, restaurants, nightclubs for a while. But for about a year before door-to-door, I did digital marketing sales. So, cold calling over the phone. Going into door-to-door, I feel like I had some confidence that it was going to be easier than over the phone, because I'd be able to read people's body language. So I wouldn't say I had a lightning fast start, but I would say after the first month or 2 months, I had an understanding that I can do this consistently. And definitely there was a lot of opportunity to grow. So that was really, really exciting. It also just worked that there was opportunity for growth, and I took advantage of that with the first company that I was with.
And it sounds like, I was talking to your partner, that early on you guys had some real adversity, and there was a period of time where you weren't getting paid at all.
Yeah.
How did you stick with this long enough to get through that? Because I don't think that was anything that you did, right? It was something
Correct.
that was happening on the business side. But I know that reps kind of, they come into this business and they don't see success right away, and there's the temptation, like, is this really right for me? How did you overcome that kind of fear and anxiety of, maybe this isn't going to work?
Yeah. You have to have trust in the individuals that you're surrounding yourself with, right? And you also have to take accountability on your side, that if you're putting yourself in that situation, right, then obviously you cross your T's, you dot your I's, you know that you're working with solid leaders, a reputable company, and even if some of those things didn't pencil out and it was out of our control, right? It was an issue with the installer, that the leadership that we had and the owners that we had our best interests in mind, right? And I knew they were going to be there for us. And I think it's the same thing when people are starting in a new role, specifically in door-to-door. If you get that feeling that they truly care about your growth and development, then you're going to be putting yourself in a good position, right? If you feel like you're just a number when you start, then that's probably a little bit of a red flag if you're not getting any kind of training or any kind of resources. But I mean, obviously, we're speaking because we align in that manner. So.
Nice. And so maybe you could talk to us about some of the challenges that you've had, and maybe a few of the challenges, and then what's kind of the biggest challenge you've had to overcome in your career in door-to-door sales, specifically in solar.
I think one of the biggest challenges that I've personally had to overcome, and I think a majority of people in door-to-door have to overcome, is, learning how to deal with the rejection. I think even coming from, doing phone sales, there was a high level of rejection. It was even having that experience, you still have to push through that and understand that it's part of it. And I think we're spending some time here with Michael O'Donnell right now, and he talks about that, and you're like welcoming the no's, because the no's are getting you that much closer to your yeses. And having that specific mindset shift is what's going to allow you to understand that this is part of the job, and you can't take it personally, even though at times you feel like you want to take it personally. But I think that was something, specifically when I was earlier on, that was a challenge. And then getting more into leadership, I think then, taking accountability and understanding that all of your actions, dictate that individual's growth, and making sure you play full out to give everybody every single piece of resource that you have to make sure they're successful.
How do you overcome like a bad day? Like if you have a bad day, I know that it can be kind of demoralizing to a degree. What are some tips for you that help you get out of that?
If you're focusing on being better every single day, right, and you're growing and you're implementing new things, then you have to understand failure is a part of the process. So if you have a bad day, like that doesn't mean tomorrow's going to be a bad day. But I always think that people talk about the roller coaster in sales or solar or whatever it is. The more time that you spend in the industry, you see those curves become less and less, because I think mentally you have the understanding that you're better each time and you're making quicker adjustments as well. So, having an understanding that you're gonna have bad days. Not every day is perfect, but your job is to go out and course correct and make adjustments for the next day. And, is this a short-term play or a long-term play? Like, we run into adversity in every part of our life, and we don't, if you want to be successful and you want to have a happy life, you can't always run away from adversity. That's not going to solve your problems.
Yeah, so that's great. So that tees up kind of my next question about mindset. So, like, what is your perspective on the mindset of a successful person, whether it's in this industry or any other industry for that matter? But like, what do you think is the recipe for success from a mindset perspective?
From a mindset perspective, I think, again, like we were stating, like you have to have the belief in yourself, right? First and foremost, and that's hard when it's something that you're new at, because maybe you don't have that experience. But I hate to use it, fake it till you make it. You have to just have the confidence in yourself that you're going to get better every single day and you're learning every single day. But in terms of the mindset, you have to have a hunter mindset, confident in yourself. You're going to go out there, you're going to get it, you're going to dominate everybody else. You're a professional, everybody else is an amateur, and you're just constantly telling yourself these things throughout the day.
Is that a nature thing, or is that a nurture? Like, is that a skill that you can develop, or is somebody just born with that and just shows up with that?
I think there's some individuals that maybe came from competitive sports or their upbringing was like that, but I think everybody can evolve into the person they want to be if they have that right mentorship environment and desire themselves, that they want to change. If they're not willing to change and they're just all talk, right, then that's one thing. But, like I'm wearing this bracelet right now from the Earn It All fitness app, and it says actions over words, right? So it's like if you really desire to have that change, you have to put action into changing and not just say you want to change.
And I know you just teamed up with Spartan, right?
Spartan.
And so, maybe can you just talk a little bit about the role of fitness, physical fitness, and how you view that correlating or corresponding to success in this job?
Yeah, for sure. I think at a very basic form, when you're focusing on fitness and you're working out early in the morning, you're usually getting the hardest thing out of the way early. So therefore the rest of your day becomes a little bit easier because you already overcame that challenge, that hurdle initially in your day. So, and a big part of it is also routine. We can go deep into science. It changes your physiology by working out. You're going to be more confident. You're going to be operating at a higher level. So that's the science part of it, which you can do research on. But getting in a routine is also super important. The team of 4, we did 54 counts last month. But we were in the house every single day.
4 people?
4 people. So we did 54 counts in 1 month. And, we were waking up at 6 a.m., 6:10 we were in the driveway doing burpees, you know, to get the blood flowing. 6:30 we were at the gym. 8 o'clock we were leaving the gym, coming home, eating breakfast together. Then we were out in the doors all day, and then we'd come home, we'd have dinner together, we'd recap the meeting, or recap the day, and, you know, go into different training or whatever we needed to do. But getting in a routine was something that really helped. And physically, us working out, a lot of people may look at it like, oh, then you're going to be tired. No, like, that gives you energy. That gives you the energy throughout the day of getting your day moving, and not all of a sudden you're starting to gain traction at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Got it. And when you were starting out, like, what role did like the self-education play into your development? Like, were you kind of just like waiting for your manager to train you? Were you like in the books? Were you on any apps or online trainings, or what were you doing?
Yeah, I was a pain in the ass. I asked a ton of questions. I was just constantly asking questions. I wasn't necessarily going to wait for a meeting to give me the answers, because it's all about time. You're trying to, you know, construct and contract time and grow as quickly as possible. So if I had a question, I would ask the question so I can get the answer, so I can continue moving forward and continue to grow. And I think growth is such an important part of it. You know, I think you were mentioning, you know, when you look at somebody successful, the mindset, I really look at 3 things for people that want to be successful or want to grow. For somebody that's brand new in the industry, it's a great work ethic, student mentality, being coachable, and a positive attitude. So you have to put in the work, right? You have to be a student, you have to constantly be humble, and then you have to have a good attitude, right? We know, like, when you're going into each day, if you have a negative mindset, that's the results you're going to get. And being a student is super important. Been doing this for 6 years and still spend tens of thousands of dollars a year on, you know, coaching and masterminds and focusing on personal growth, development, whether it's sales, leadership, recruiting. There's always something that you can be learning to be a better person.
Nice. Are there any, you know, like, you know, obviously there's a sales process. I'm sure you have your own sales process. But is there any kind of like, you know, angles that you like to approach, or anything that for you is like the most important thing? Like, you know, when you're knocking the door, for example, like what you know, you're training somebody, like what's kind of like the most important thing to start with, you know, to find success on the door?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because there's
so
a big
much,
part
right?
of the presentation. A couple of basic ones is you have to create pain. You know, at one point throughout solar, we transitioned from just selling solar to also selling home efficiency. So attic insulation, ceiling the ductwork, AC units. And during that transition, I focused a lot on the pleasure of that, in terms, because people either buy because of pleasure or pain. One of the 2 reasons, right? So I was focusing more on the pleasure, like, hey, we're attic insulation, your house is going to be more climate controlled, and all these cool things. Like, my first 5 deals canceled. Because they woke up the next day and they had, you know, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 loans, and they were like, it's not that cool, right? But when you have the pain side of it, so I think that's super important, because now you're providing a solution to a problem. So, and doing that on a micro level in terms of their situation, and then relating that to a macro level of like what's happening, and whether it's the local government or like specifically with solar, what's happening nationwide, really drills down to the point of, this is a way bigger problem than just you and me. This is happening throughout the entire country, so like you need to get ahead of it.
So you're just like matter of fact, like this is what's going on, this is what the problem is.
Definitely, and Michael O'Donnell, like, he goes into that, and you're gonna be chatting with him, so those are definitely some awesome nuggets that you can share on a macro level of exactly what's happening, and so how you can relate that to the individual. But I think something that reps, and including myself sometimes, is very logical at the door. Storytelling is super, super important. You know, to be able to tell a story and use imagery that gets people to understand clearly what you're trying to say and relate that to them personally. And a lot of times I do that with, we call it Jones effect, right? You know, keeping up with the Joneses, people want what other people have. So I'll utilize that at the door with an introduction, like, yeah, I'm working with your neighbor Steve down the street. And now I'm not a random person knocking on their door, there's some trust there because I'm working with one of the other neighbors. And then if they have an objection, I'll handle the objection with Jones effect, like somebody else, you know, felt, found. You know, Jan down the street felt the same exact way. What she found out was, and ultimately now you're building more trust and credibility because you're able to provide a solution for somebody else that felt the same way. And then I'll also use it when setting, if I need to set an appointment. Obviously your goal is to try to get the house right there or same day, but if you need to set an appointment, you want to make your calendar look busy. So again, you're not desperate, right? You're working through with a sense of indifference that it doesn't, whether they do it or not, like I'm going to help out a bunch of people in your neighborhood. So being able to schedule on your own terms and talking about the other people you have appointments with allows you to continue to build credibility. So storytelling, imagery, but then also making sure that you relate to other people in the neighborhood will continue to build trust.
Any favorite stories that you like to tell?
Favorite stories I usually obviously will relate it to some personal experiences that I've had when it's specific objections. I would say the most important story that I'm telling right now is on the macro level of what's happening with the utility companies and the Green New Deal and the infrastructure bill. Like I said, and Michael Don says it best. So, I use a lot of what he says, but that's the biggest story that you have to tell at every single door right now.
Got it. Let's make sure that we're still rolling. We can edit this part out. Good. All right.
This thing is loaded up too. All right.
So a couple last questions, kind of rapid fire. Top 3 tips for somebody just getting into this business. Top 3, top of the head.
Top 3 tips just getting into it. Like I said, work ethic, student mentality, positive attitude. That's going to be it right there. Like, you have to put in the work, not only in the field, right? You have to work really, really hard in the field, but you have to work outside of that, being a student. I can't express the importance enough of writing out your presentation every single day, writing out your objections.
Oh, nice.
What people don't understand is how many times do you go out to the field, right? And we'll say you hit 100 doors. How many people are you actually getting through your entire presentation down to the close, right? So maybe you do that 15 times. Well, if you practice your presentation for 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night, you just 4x the amount of times that you actually get the repetition. So, because a lot of times reps will get there, they get their intro out, they get, they're kind of getting into it, but then when somebody's actually listening, they fumble going for the close.
Because they never get that far.
They never get that far.
Yeah, totally.
So you have to practice. So not only you put in the work in the field, but at home, so when those opportunities present themselves, you're ready. Biggest tip by far, like I said, would be writing out the presentation. You literally do that daily because you just saying it is just a reaction. When you're writing it out, you're fine-tuning your craft in the specific ways you want to say it. And then we run into the same 8 or 10 objections up there. You need to have that down within a week, 2 weeks. You need to have 2 different ways to handle each of those objections. It blows my mind how people will be in a role like this, brand new, for 2 weeks, and they don't have a 1.5-page script down and how to handle 8 to 10 objections. But most of these same people went to high school or college and did a presentation in front of an entire room for 20 to 30 minutes for a letter grade, or they paid for it when they went to college. But when they can make thousands of dollars, they don't put the time and effort in to get a 1.5-page script down and memorize objections.
I love that.
We can't help with body language. We can't help with any of the other things that are advanced level sales if you don't get the foundation down. So that's by far the most important. And it just takes a little bit of work, but everybody can do it. And then obviously you have to come in with a good attitude every day. You have to have a growth mindset. Like, this is going to be challenging. So if every little bit of challenge you get down on yourself, this is going to be a difficult role. But if every day you're coming in, you know that you're becoming a better and better person when you hit these challenges, then you're excited for the growth. The next challenge that comes up, you welcome it because you know you're going to come out the other side a better person.
That's fire, dude. That's good. Okay, top of the dome. Top 3 tips for somebody wanting to get into leadership or somebody who is in leadership.
Do everything that your leader is doing that you like, and everything that you wish they did, do that as well. And everything that you don't like that they do, don't do that. Just be the best versions of them and better, and already start acting like a leader, helping out other people in the office, stepping up as a leader without being asked to do so, and you will naturally be put into that position very quickly because it will not go unnoticed. That's a huge piece of advice. And then obviously you need to start training on leadership. So leadership is different than sales. Similar in a sense, you're selling people on a vision and idea and for them to be the best version of themselves. But there's great books. John Maxwell is amazing for leadership. Jocko Willings is another great book, or another great resource there in extreme ownership. That's good for sales and leadership. But yeah, just people they can look up and see a good leader, right? And and hopefully you have one in your organization. And if you don't, that's always tough, right? That's why people bounce around. But if you look up to that individual in the office as being somebody that's been there for you and helped you get to where you're at, like you need to do those same things for others.
That's awesome. Well, next question I was going to ask you is about your favorite book. Is there anything you're currently going through now?
I'm reading Blue Ocean Strategies
nice.
right now,
Yeah.
so I've been recommended that book. So,
and what market was this 41 Deals? What market was this in?
that was in Arizona.
In Arizona, and
Yeah.
so this is not Blue Ocean market.
No, definitely wasn't.
And is it pretty common for you to like be running into people in the streets, and you've this is like the 7th time you guys have knocked my door, or somebody's knocked my door? Are you getting that pretty regularly?
Yeah, I mean, and they're depending on, we were at different parts of the state too, but yeah, people are like, yeah, you've had multiple people come by this week, and it's like, I've also been in neighborhoods where it's like multiple people are coming by that day, and you just have to, if you're the professional, you have to, again, to go back to what I was saying, you have to have the understanding that majority of people doing this are amateurs. And just by you memorizing your presentation and memorizing how to handle the 8 or 10 objections 2 or 3 different ways, you are now a professional and ahead of probably 90% of the people that are out there.
And so you'll oftentimes get these appointments and get deals when you're the 7th person that day.
Well, I've told people at the door, I was like, I know you've had a ton of people come through here. 50% of the people that we worked with have sat down with 4+ companies, and here's the reason why your neighbors are working with us, right? And then I just lay out how we're different. But we were literally, there was multiple times we were out in turf, and there's other people out there, and it's not going to slow me down, and I'll literally use that to my advantage. Like, hey, I know they get you all warmed up talking about this or whatever the situation is. But yeah, we were knocking. Actually, Peter from another company that's in the circle group was some of his reps were out in the neighborhood, and I was like, I was literally on a call with with the owner of your company a couple days ago. I think Peter has a company. There's 4 or 5 companies that are in this mastermind that are in Arizona. And I think that also speaks to the level of this mastermind and the level of an abundant mindset. Some of the greats that are in this mastermind, like I said, talking to Michael O'Donnell, Luke Ward, these guys are double golden door winners. We're all in the same mastermind, we're all sharing ideas, and we're all in the same market. Like, offices are 10, 15, 20 minutes from each other. And that just shows the abundant mindset. And so
the willingness to share. Yeah.
The willingness to share. So I think that speaks volumes when people have a limited mindset, right? And they're afraid of competition, or they're afraid of a tougher market at the end of the day.
Nice. Well, appreciate your time, Mike. And any last things you want to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah, just commit. At the end of the day, you have to commit to growth every single day, and just understand that we're on a rocket ship right now in this industry, and this is the golden time. So you got to take advantage of it. You don't want to look back with profound regret.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sweet, dude. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.